Yo guys, what's going on? Slugfest Wizard here. It's that time again. I wanted to do my review for the last couple of UFC events that were going on, from Rio to, let's see what we got. Shields versus Ellenberger, and Jones versus Rampage. Alright, let's talk about it. Alright, here we go. Wow. To Yushin Okami's credit, UFC Rio first. To Yushin Okami's credit, he tried to do what he needed to do to win, but in the end that was not enough. Anderson Silva, number one pound for pound fighter in the world, looked like he was on a completely different level. He was clearly not threatened by any type of striking that Yushin Okami could do. He was not even really worried about the takedown, and he was timing things and put him away in the second round. Some people are saying that Silva maybe needs to retire right now since he's already beaten everybody in the division. And maybe he should, but I want to see him. There's still some more guys I want to see him fight. Unfortunately, I did not get to see this card live and free because of the hurricane. Wouldn't you know it? But, yeah, word was he'll be out until I think early next year because he did hurt his shoulder kind of in the UFC Rio card. And this was very reminiscent, obviously, of his performance against Forrest Griffin at UFC 101. And it was really something special. You could tell he wasn't going out there to toy with Okami. He was going out there to, after the feeling out process was over, he wanted to finish him off in the second round, do it with authority, and do it in front of his hometown. So that's how it goes. I mean, and yet Anderson Silva is still not liked by a certain demographic of people. I don't really know what more you want from this guy, people. I mean, yeah, he showed signs of cockiness, but still, I can't really say that, so Anderson Silva is cocky because, he offered to help Patrick Cote up after he knocked him down. Here, let me help you up. Or, the little Damian Maya thing, that was kind of embarrassing too. But I've forgiven him for that. But other than those things, he apologized to Rich Franklin in the locker room after breaking his nose for the second time at UFC 77. So is that really something that a cocky person would do? I mean, the guy's been obliterating every single person the UFC has put before him. I don't know what more that the haters want from this. And I'm starting to see some of that with John Jones too. I'll get back to that in a bit. But next matchup, Shogun. Yes. This is how I think a lot of people predicted the first matchup between Shogun and Forrest Griffin going, with, Mauricio going out there, hitting Forrest Griffin with something, and then pounding on him with hammer fists and finishing the fight in the first round. And that's what happened. Forrest Griffin, he looked like himself. He wasn't as fast. His wife was in the hospital at this time, I think in labor, and after this fight he immediately had to get on a plane and go and see her and all that stuff, so whatever, he should take some time to clear his head, but Shogun is slated now to fight Dan Henderson upon his return to the UFC, so they're going to have some good footage of Henderson knocking out Michael Bisping for that fight. That should be good. Shogun, he'll probably win that fight too. But, Henderson, even at, I think he's 38 now. I could be wrong, but he's still looking good. And Ross Pearson versus Edson Barbosa. Barbosa continues to remain undefeated, although Ross Pearson did a lot better than I thought he was going to in that fight. And Nogueira, oh man, great job. Man, what a sweet victory that had to be for Antonio Hadihigo Nogueira in front of his hometown. I think that he was a serious underdog against Brendan Schaub, and those who did pick Nogueira to win, I think, picked him by submission or by a split decision in a very close fight. But, the Brendan Schaub legend killer train has come to a halt as Nogueira finishes him off in the first round by knockout. Wow. I had to check that page again to make sure it wasn't a joke, because I was only using Wi-Fi off of smartphone. So, man, and for Nogueira right now, he's gonna fight Frank Mir again, and I tell you what, if that Nogueira shows up and fights the Frank Mir that showed up against Roy Nelson, I'd favor Nogueira in that fight, to be honest with you. But Brendan Schaub can still do a few things at heavyweight. If you look at Nogueira after the fight, he had some swelling under like this eye. So Schaub did catch him with something decent. All right, next bout. Louise Kane lost again to Stanislav Netkov. I picked Netkov in this fight to win. I had a feeling he was going to, and he did. And as for Louise Kane, he's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. So if he loses again, he might be cut. It's not like he's on some type of Dan Hardy losing streak. Because, anyway, that's it. The rest of the card I'm not going to talk about except for, let me see. Eric Silva looked good in dispatching Luis Ramos in just 40 seconds of the first round. And Yves Yabuin picked up a win. Paulo Thiago finally got another win, that's good. Alright then, next card. Oh, what time is it? Let's see, 6:26, okay. UFC 135, John Jones. You did it, man. I knew you could. Let's see, John Jones, he defends his belt, becoming the first person to stop Quentin Rampage Jackson with a rear naked choke submission in the 4th round. What did I say? Submission. Huh? I think I was one of the only guys that picked John Jones to win by submission, but I had a feeling that's what he would do, because as good as John Jones is with his strikes, it's not like he's it's not like he's knocking people out with punches or knocking people out with high kicks and stuff. And Quentin Rampage Jackson, even though he does fight kind of two-dimensionally, he is very tough to take out with strikes, So, whether he shows up in good shape or not. But this is actually, there were some records that happened in this, that came of this fight, some first times or some surprising things. Hold on. Yeah, the last person to defeat Rampage by submission was Kazushi Sakuraba in Rampage's debut in Pride 15, back in 2001. Yeah. And the last time that Rampage was finished was when he fought Shogun. Let me see. Yeah, in 2005. So it's been a while. This is also the longest that anyone has lasted with John Jones, and this is also the first time since Chuck Liddell that the UFC light heavyweight champion has been able to successfully defend their belt at least once, and finishing, and that defense of that belt has become, I guess, how am I supposed to say this, has resulted in a finish of some type, without a decision. So yeah, John Jones, he's looking really good as a fighter. As a person, sometimes he says and does some immature things that I'm not a fan of. As I said before, he needs to clean up his act in that area. But yeah, since Stephan Bonner, he has finished every single one of his fights in the UFC. Yeah, he also went to a decision with Andre Guzmão. But yeah, other than Andre Guzmão and Stephan Bonner, John Jones has put away every single opponent that has been put before him. And I was actually, believe it or not, I was worried out there for a bit for John Jones, because the fight, John Jones was crawling on the ground at first. That told me that he was serious. That told me that he was either doing something unorthodox or weird again, or he was very worried about trading strikes with Rampage early in the fight. And he said he was at the start of the match. And there was also some times in this fight where it seemed like that John Jones was kind of having trouble dealing with Rampage's toughness, because he was throwing lots of leg kicks, lots of kicks to the knees, lots of high kicks too, and going for takedowns. And I was also surprised that John Jones was not able to take Rampage down until like the 3rd round, or the 3rd round and the 4th round, in the 4th round, that's where he finished him. Obviously, what's next is John Jones is going to fight Rashad Evans right now. Rashad Evans has a good chance, as I think Evans is a bit faster than Rampage, and Evans is a bit more of a fluent striker than Rampage. But those two have fought before, and John Jones will be a little bit bigger than Evans. I'd still favor Jones in that fight. And, next fight. Oh, Matt Hughes. Oh, well, I thought that Matt Hughes would retire after this fight, whether or not it was a win or a loss. He said he was not retiring. He said that the UFC should put him on the shelf for a while. Okay, whatever, but, you know, Josh Koscheck did his thing. He looked pretty good. I heard he went through a lot of, he underwent a lot of painful things to quell the pain and the nerve damage in his eye after his encounter with GSP. But, Matt Hughes slipped it. But at first, Matt Hughes was looking good, so he's showing signs still that he's trying to evolve his game, and that's why he was so dominant during the years where he was in his prime. But if Matt Hughes retires right now, that's okay. If not, I hope the UFC puts him in a favorable fight, and then he retires. And, okay, next one. Ben Rothwell versus Mark Hunt. Yikes. Ben Rothwell, man, I gotta be honest. Rothwell didn't even look like that he had, trained any cardio at all for this fight. He was gassed, near the end of the first round. And Mark Hunt looked like he was gonna submit him. I think, doesn't Ben Rothwell have better jiu-jitsu credentials than Mark Hunt? But, it's great to see Mark Hunt just barely get the win. But, Rothwell's stock seriously took a hit in this fight, but, good job, Hunt. You managed to save your career. Just, I guess step up your cardio a bit more, too. And Travis Brown defeated Rob Broughton. I think Travis Brown, went to a decision with a guy that he should have been able to finish, and I think Brown had also expected to finish this guy a bit earlier, too, but good win for him. Nate Diaz looked really impressive against Takanori Gomi, but again, he beat, 2011 Takanori Gomi. So, submitted him with an armbar at 4 minutes, 21 seconds, and a really good start to the fight. One submission of the night. Good win for the other Diaz brother. And Tony Ferguson surprised a lot of people by shattering Aaron Riley's jaw. Wow. So I guess, the UFC fighter winners, they still can win a few. And Tim Boetsch defeated Nick Ring. I knew I shouldn't have picked Nick Ring for that, so yeah, my bad. And Takemi Izagaki finally got a win. Junior Osenko did too. And James Tahuna, Ricardo Romero. That's it. You're probably going to be cut. So get a few more wins, maybe you'll come back, like Tim Hague. Anyway. Next up, Dominic Cruz, and still the UFC Bantamweight Champion of the world. Great performance, man, and I gotta say, Mighty Mouse Johnson, that kid is good. Johnson, even though he lost, he probably won some fans there that night, let me just say that. His striking looked good. Cruz was just too strong, too much better of a wrestler, and had too many things for Demetrius Johnson to think about. Cruz is still the best bantamweight mixed martial artist in the world, and Stefan Struve submits Pat Barry. Oh, man. Pat Barry, you need to figure things out, and you need to learn some serious submission defense, because you're getting submitted by guys that you probably should be able to beat. And Charlie Brenneman ran into some bad luck and lost to Anthony Johnson. Mac Danzig couldn't make lightning strike again, and he lost to Matt Wyman. And the rest of the preliminary card, every single fight on the preliminary card at the Cruz versus Johnson event, every single one was finished. None of them went the distance. There were some controversial stoppages, but a good night of fighting for the UFC Live last night. So keep it real, guys. That's I gotta cut the video short right now. We're getting kind of long. Next up, we've got Edgar versus Maynard 3, and Jose Aldo versus Kenny Florian. By the way, before I talk about that fight, is it just me, or are they hyping Florian more than they're hyping Aldo? So, okay. October 8th. That's how it's going to be. This is Slugfest Wizard signing off.